have a quorum, so.
Well, as soon as Doug comes back, we will.
Oh, that's, well, yeah, that's right, he's now.
Now we
He's
can
not
count
public
him. He's not
anymore.
public.
He's not public
He's-
anymore.
He's a full-on member.
That's right.
so-
One member.
He's a
Yeah.
full-on member.
Exactly.
We can come back to that, okay? Item number 3 is project status. And some of the stuff that we've been discussing and trying to keep up to date on, of course, is sewer, the CMP service coming in, the bell tower needs to be more to mix, roof, dome, cladding. There's some discussion about the brick cleaning, and I think Steve had questions about doors.
Yes, Steve Burton was asking questions about the doors, the exact design of the doors.
Yeah, so he had all that. It's in the set of drawings that we sent him.
Okay, good.
He's had it for a couple weeks, but that's what we were trying to reach out to him and confirm, and he hasn't gotten back to us about
Okay.
that. So,
Apparently.
so what we did
Yeah,
is
so what happened?
we tried to find a 7-panel door because that's what we found in there. Do you want to talk about it now? I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
Okay, and we found a 5-panel, which was close.
Mhm.
That would have been custom. So we were trying to not go full custom, but the 5-panel, so Simpson Doors makes it in wood,
Oh, okay.
which we thought would be a good one to price. And then we also found a fiberglass version of it from, can't remember the company off the top of my head. No, they're in North Carolina. They're in North Carolina. So we were asking to price both of them so we could check. The wood would be nicer because we could just finish it like wood colored and leave the trim all white and then have a nice sort of like mahogany colored door
Mhm.
and then match the interior doors, even if it's just a stain on a
Right.
on a pine. So that would be our preference, at least for the exterior doors. But we did a drawing, and what we did for the primary entrance is we did a 44-inch single leaf and then a fixed leaf that would be like, you could open it, but it was so the doors were uneven, but that when the big door was open, you could get a lot of people in, and if you had to get something really big in, you just throw the deadbolts and open the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
And that would be the least expensive hardware. Yeah, so we have we've got smaller drawings. There's the over there on the,
Mhm.
that's the door that we drew. We've got a full size set. I'm gonna leave it with you guys,
Okay.
but we just printed out smaller ones and we can give you one of the look by 17 as well. But that's the information that we sent him with the specification on that. And then, well, we can go through
Now, is
that.
that still 6'8" tall?
It's still 6'8" tall. Yeah.
Okay, because me and I were looking at that in that existing granite header and stuff
Yeah.
up there, trying to figure out if we can go up to the bottom of that.
Right.
You just
Well,
couldn't make it.
No, we're still assuming that we would, because we're at 710, which I think is up to the bottom of that thing. So if we're going 6'8", we can.
Oh, you mean to put a fixed panel on top?
No, just to leave there's the existing granite sill is up
Right.
here, then there's a certain amount of brick,
Yeah.
and then the existing opening.
Okay, so we were going up to the underside of the granite, and that's where we had the 7'10". But we can make the door smaller. and-
That would be
And
custom
even-
for sure, wouldn't it?
Well, either
7'10"?
way, they're built to order.
Oh,
It's a standard. It's a
Style, the 5-panel would be a
Okay.
standard style, the 7-panel would be a custom style, whereas.
even at 7'10", that would be a standard.
Yeah. They'll make them to this, it's getting the tooling together for the panels to have 7.
Okay.
It becomes
Mhm.
not one of their stock designs, a 5-panel, they have it all set
Right.
for their
It's just a matter of-
sizes.
One of the other things he was nervous about is that granite only has like a
Yeah.
couple inches of bearing on each
Mhm.
side. If you extend it on up versus leaving the header there, so that was one of the questions Steve
Yeah.
had. You know, do we,
So we've got a little bit of wiggle room with that, where I think the opening is what we called out as 5'10", we would have a 44 and an 18. But we could take that 44 down to a 40, give us more room on either side.
Might even be able to put a steel frame,
But that way we weren't,
which we'd paint white.
we wouldn't be held into 2 leaves that were exactly the same.
right, but then you'd have to infill more brick on the side?
No, if we did a metal frame, we could probably build it out of hollow metal steel,
Mhm.
so that would act as a support.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, okay.
a
That could
frame,
be-
and then that could just be
slide.
painted white. It wouldn't be thermally broken, but we're outside the vestibule.
Right.
And then we have an inner door, and that's really our seal. That might be the way to do it, because then the top piece could also be,
It would look great to be,
Yeah.
have the door come up to that granite.
well, if we did the steel frame, I think we could. Because then with that top piece of the steel
be the header.
could be the lintel,
Yeah,
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 and that could
yeah,
even
lintel.
feed up behind it if it was an angle or something. I just don't, with the big door and the small door, I hate putting another
Yeah.
piece
no.
because it's too fussy.
Well, I mean, just leaving the brick that's there and fit the new door in the existing
Right.
masonry opening.
That should be less money because you don't have the brickwork.
Yeah, because it's only a 6
And then
inch.
if we can use that frame structurally. We just did this at another project where we were doing crash doors, but we built a steel frame that was supporting everything so that the doors could be whatever.
This is one of the questions he was
Yeah,
asking
okay.
about on Thursday.
I am going to, let's follow up with Eric, our structural engineer, and ask him that question, and then we can detail that. So it's just a simple metal fabrication for the frame. And then-
The ASA?
Asa built it, but I mean,
So what's the existing width of the door right now?
510 would be the
510.
opening.
the masonry opening though is bigger.
Yes, 6.
Masonry opening would be 4 inches bigger than that.
It's actually, it was 3.5, 4, 5.5 bigger.
We left 2 3/4 on either side.
So if we did a 2-inch tube steel, that gives us 3/4 of an inch to pack out, and we could even put a brick mold trim around it, painted. That could be a composite piece, and that would give us a more historic look.
So the masonry opening would be the same as it
Would
is
be the
now.
same as
right.
it is
You
now.
just have to take out that little bit of masonry between the top of the existing
Right.
door
And then
and the
that
granite.
frame could come across, and then we have the brick. I'm trying to sketch it or
Right.
and then we just do an OG. We can actually do it with a channel, a backwards channel, then we get a square corner, which will even look more crisp. Like that, and then that can be beefier and that can support everything. And then we can do the same across the top. And if we have to put pins in it, we can just weld in some plate. That way it
So
gets
the door
us,
stops.
for the door stops, we'll just put a backwards channel
Mhm.
and then a fiber, weather stripping on the whole thing.
Mhm.
And then the hinges can screw in. So I think that's probably.
It would look the best to
So
go up.
proportionally going up to the, so yeah, with the width of the door and going up to the granite.
Yeah,
I think
because
proportionally
the
that
small
would-
frame would actually start to mimic what the windows are gonna look like.
That would look great, I think, if we can do it structurally with
Speaking of that.
only
Yeah.
minimal bearing.
Right, and if we can get bearing
Going up to
to
the
support
granite.
that, then that's
yeah.
given us another
So the
2
width
inches
the
of
door
bearing
versus
on the
the
lintel,
height.
which 4 inches.
Yeah.
We've got about 2 or 4 would be
Would,
better.
would we have to temporarily support that when we tear that out and put that in?
Basically, what they would do is probably support the granite on either side, put up the lintel. and
Put
then
the door
it in.
header and stuff in.
Yeah, they build it in field, probably weld it in field. That's my guess. But yeah, we'd have to support that granite.
Yeah, because you've got what,
Because there's not,
like a half an inch of bearing?
yeah, there's not much.
Yeah,
This
You
is-
know.
trying to get maybe another half inch in there.
Mhm.
So that might be the way to do it. Plus then it's, I mean, the only thing I'm concerned with is the thermal break. Because it's steel to steel, but
Right, right.
we could insulate inside and we could actually break it, but
That'd be difficult, especially if you're gonna go structural on it.
yeah. I think we just have to sort of say that's what we got and then it gets cold on.
There anyway.
It's the exterior door though.
Yeah,
Right, we can control that inside door.
We could, I just don't, I'm just afraid of condensation on the inside because of the cold, the hot, you might get some freezing on the. But
I mean.
we can look a little bit more into that. There's maybe a way to do.
Fill it with spray foam, that would help, but
Yeah.
it still wouldn't.
Yeah, or we could cut the angle or put 2 side angles and then put a strip between it, so at least we break. Like, that's what you do
Right,
with an
right,
aluminum
right.
frame.
Mhm.
So we might be able to do, you can't all see this, but if I did a frame like that, and a frame like this, and then I had my stop
You start
here,
over top there.
and then I spray foam this inside, at least I'd have minimal, and I could maybe even do this out of fiberglass. So it doesn't conduct as much,
Mhm.
the stop, and then have my door here. And then weather strip in there, so that might be the way to do it, at least I've got a break,
Mhm. That sounds good to me.
so. We'll run this past Eric and we'll come up with a detail for it, and then hopefully Steve is pricing the doors, but you're all set with this idea of having the unequal legs. I think
Oh, yeah, I
it
don't,
gives us
that's-
it gives us a look that'll be more historic, but it gives us a wider door.
yeah, I
which I
don't,
think
I
we
don't
better.
think that is a problem.
Do you have to have glass in any of those?
No, they're all solid.
Also.
They're all
They're all
solid.
panel. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
raised panel.
I didn't know if you needed vision through the
No.
door,
No,
if that was a code.
no, it would, in a stair, it would be, but this is just an entrance door. You
Okay.
don't have to do glass through it. And I do like the idea of it being wood or a wood look. I think the brick and the white and the wood would be really classic
It's very classic.
and it would look really beautiful. So,
I'll probably have to have an exit device though, wouldn't
on the inside, we'd have
On the
the
inside.
devices, but a wood door, we could do that.
Yeah.
We'll just do it with, we could actually maybe do it in bronze so that they.
Without doing
Oh,
the,
Push bar.
wouldn't have to have the vertical rods.
No, because we're gonna fix the one leaf.
Good.
So that's it locked in place and the other door closes against that panel. It's easier than doing two
Yeah.
doors.
then have-
Because then we have an astragal or a removable astragal or a lot of coordination.
No,
And
And
never-
no, not
well,
necessary.
if we can fix that leaf, then this closes, it locks into the other leaf. We'll just put the hardware on that, this fixed panel.
Mhm.
And that's what I like. It makes it really simple.
I like it.
And then we can match the doors to the inside.
Yeah.
Between the hall and the reception area. So that way we've got a consistent look. And if we get those all the same color.
You feel lonely?
was that-
No, I just.
I like being at the head of the table. So
No, we have a dialogue.
I don't want to
Come
sit
sit
back.
down here.
close to
So,
someone else.
all right, so we will follow up with Steve and Eric on that and then that, so, but I'm glad you're all on board with that. And then the front doors are just gonna restore. Exiting, you did some research with the fire marshal. Maybe we should just get time to talk about that.
Exiting, we're exempt from requiring 2 exits, which we had talked about last time.
Yes.
Having accessible exits,
For our
accessible
cer-
exits,
yeah,
so we
for our
can have
certificate.
one
Yeah,
for
that's good. Good news.
accessibility, which is great.
And that's because of historic building
Yeah.
clause,
Mhm.
which we verified
Yes.
with the state fire marshal. We've
Yeah.
talked to them about it.
He did
That's good.
remind me about we'll need to comply because we're exceeding a certain amount of budget. They calculate like renovation as an amount of the original budget of the building, which would be kind of impossible to tell here, but this would be somewhat considered under new construction in a way, so we have to comply with what they call barrier free, which is basically a percentage of your renovation / building budget needs to basically provide ADA assistance.
Right,
I think
okay.
it's about 20%, so we will have to, once things start getting priced, I mean, we can pull basically anything that makes us accessible, like a water fountain, a roll up water fountain.
Even the flooring, to be honest.
Flooring, your transition strip into the building, stuff like that. So when we start getting prices on that, we just want to make sure that we're meeting
We're meeting
that
that,
amount.
20%.
So we'll pull all the
Interesting.
things that were exit devices, emergency lighting. The countertop in the bathroom is also roll up, and then the ADA stall. So if we need to add anything that would then boost that up to where we would be calling 20% of the construction budget,
Okay.
then we'll know that more once we get some prices on stuff or some estimates of things. But yeah, so it was good news that we didn't have to have a
Yeah.
temp ramp or
Right, except
a
or-
landing and all this other stuff out there. So
No, that's.
And our main entrance where we're talking about the wider door is going to be, we'll put a closer on it. We can even put an opener
Right,
for accessibility on there, which is probably, we should have a power opener on that door.
yeah, that makes sense.
Just that one, the inside one as well, but that way someone in a wheelchair, because it's already gonna be a grade, so they can get right in.
Right, go right in,
And then,
yeah.
which they probably were never able to before. So clearly we are.
Another question Steve had, it just came back to me. The doors on the other end
Yeah.
of the building, those are just gonna be hollow metal?
Those doors, I think we should try to do them in the same material, the same wood
Okay.
if we can. We just have to price it out for both. We can do
the basement door that we're.
the basement door, all in metal. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the doors on both sides, all in wood. If we can't get them in wood, we could do, we can even do them in fiberglass and try to you can get a wood color fiberglass. So, and then we could match that for the main door. And that's the other option for the main door is to do it in a fiberglass
Mhm.
wood color, which would be insulated as well, but
The door on the other end is standard size though, right? The other
it's,
side of the building?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
right.
I thought that was standard size, so we don't have to get anything
Yeah.
custom.
Correct. We could, I mean, we could also just do it hollow metal, but I think I would go to a fiberglass door as opposed to wood, which would probably save the money there. And then you can get a lot of wood colors, and then I think we just try to match the stain on the wood door
Wood
to the
door,
fiberglass doors.
Right.
But then the interior doors, if we do those two to the hall, which are even the ones into the bathrooms, if we could try to do those all in wood and stain them, it would just give us a real consistent look. Because everything we could paint in white, actually paint the walls, maybe the trim is white, and then the walls are a softer off-white,
Mhm.
and then the wood, and then the wood floor, and I think we got a really classic place. I mean, I don't know what color it was when we started, but did you show them the ceiling? In the, yeah, do you have a full drawing? You should open up the big one. So we did a drawing for the ceiling
Cool.
with the corner bits that we took off the. We had that last week, but I don't, or last meeting. Official 24 by 30. Here we go. So that's the detail that's at the front door,
Mhm.
which
Over the arch over the door there.
Yeah.
so just do it there, and then we were gonna do a very simple cornice with two pieces of wood. And then we're showing a grid of light fixtures here that would hang pendants, which we haven't picked
Yeah,
yet.
we're talking about cans.
Oh, cans, recessed cans,
Says can't.
recessed cans, right, sorry. We've gone a couple ways, but that simple little detail, which this detail, I think just gives it a really kind of
Oh, it's.
like
Oh,
a,
that's-
and we just paint that out white on the ceiling.
Mhm.
So what's it gonna, is it gonna be made out of?
Just made out of a piece of wood trim, or it could be composite trim. You can get a curved, you can actually get a piece of trim that's like in a vinyl that you can bend
Oh,
to cut it, but obviously they can price that out. It doesn't have to
so that would just
right
be
away.
attached below the existing
Just be-
ceiling and then.
Just be screwed into this existing ceiling, which we'd patch. We'd patch the ceiling, and then it wasn't there before. We're just trying to give a little bit of detail. I like how it sort of
I do too.
gives the roundness of,
I
you
do
know, the
too.
space. I think it's just a nice little touch.
And without going over the top.
Yeah.
Right.
But leaving it plain, I think would be.
Yeah.
wrong.
We could, and the cornice were, which I don't think we've drawn the detail, but it's basically a piece of wood, and a molding, so it's really simple,
Very simple.
but it'll give us.
Well, it gives a reveal. It gives it some.
Yeah, it will give us some reveal, and we can paint that all out, and then the base, we were gonna do the same, because we found that there, we were gonna match the base from the. You did the LiDAR scan of it, that's what we have, yes, we have it electronic. But all of that at the base would be simple, so keeping it as a simple trim piece, all painted. Again, I like the thing if we do like white painted trim everywhere in and out, and then the walls, we just do a softer tone. Like parchment color, like white with
Very
parchment.
bright
color.
and, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just gonna have.
And with those new windows so big, you'll get so much light.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just have two pieces of wood like that with like a crown mold in
Yeah.
there.
So basically, we do like a 1x8 flat up on the corner of the
Mhm.
wall, and then a smaller piece on the wall. So instead of coming down the wall with a crown, we go up,
Mhm.
Oh,
and
okay.
then we put, so again, it crowns the top.
Mhm.
And then we just do a smaller piece of standard trim inside. Since we don't know what was there, I think it'll give us, and then that way you don't have, I mean, you could do a huge built-up molding, which would be great, but I think the building was a little bit more simple.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't
So
think. it
just
was-
that and that, and we may not even need to do the crown, or it could just be a cove. Keep it really simple and then paint that all out, and then the base, and then the window trim, we're also gonna just do very simple box.
Cool, I like it, sounds good.
So I think we've got those started, but those are not in the set yet. I know, well, you scanned it all as fun, so we have all the sizes.
Something we had talked about, we came a little early and just walked around the building at first, but the lettering on
Oh,
the
yeah.
rose glass,
Mhm.
we've never really discussed if that's being restored, replaced. We think that maybe if
You're missing the A,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the only letter, and they look like they're wood.
Yeah.
They were.
We were gonna suggest that we get a composite letter, similar size and font, and then maybe take those letters down and put them somewhere. Like on the wall in the
Yeah.
room.
Oh, that could be.
Or it could even be on the ceiling. I mean,
Decorations.
yeah,
Those were probably put up there when that front entrance was
When
built.
The
Yeah.
40s, I think.
Was
which
that-
was-
they're like
yeah,
a
it was the
cushioned and
40s.
they're red, so I think we could get that color, but I think something that's gonna again, on the exterior, we're looking to see how we can make this as durable and long lasting as possible. But I think it's important to have
I
that,
think the townspeople will appreciate that.
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
that text on there.
Exactly, because I mean, I'd have to go back into some other pictures, but obviously that picture is from the twenties, I think, that
Yeah,
that they
on
made
the
the
left.
postcard from.
Yeah.
Mhm. Doug, the one on the left. So, well, no, it has to be after, I mean, because if it was put on in the forties, so that has to be, 40
Yeah,
to fifties, so it was there then, so, and those folks are still around.
and I doubt anyone changed those letters since then.
No,
So
no.
they look like wood from at least
Yeah.
below.
They are.
Yeah,
So we could just do a metal with a finer finish or something. I mean, even if they don't have the cushion, we can get the font and the size.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple font. It doesn't,
Mhm.
but I think we can probably salvage at least most of the letters, and then the missing A, we can figure something to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Like make it different or
Sharpie.
sure, not chalk though.
Not Sharpie.
Yeah. You could probably replace the A in some fashion, make a
Yeah.
new one that
Yeah, yeah.
is similar.
The Existing one, they could be used for a decoration, they could even, if somebody wanted to buy one or something. you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah, we could also
Okay.
put them somewhere in the building, like not in a circle,
Straight,
like over a door or a
Exactly.
transom or
Yeah.
something like that.
That might be. kind of
But I think it's
cool.
worth replacing,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
not trying to restore them.
no.
in the
no.
vestibule. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Like
time
when you
we
walk in, if it's,
go on the list, grab one.
Yeah, we'll ask Steve to
That would be very
Mm.
cool.
get a letter.
yeah.
Letter A is a really good one.
What's
I
missing?
like these kinds of
There's
things.
another one, is there?
You like what?
It's so exciting to see.
There has to be another one,
finishing
because
stuff we're talking
Yeah.
about.
does it say
There is another one.
established?
Doesn't it? Oh, well.
Oh, yeah,
We've got,
Yeah,
right,
right.
there's no P's, so.
There's no- So I can't steal my initials.
It's got a big wooden P hanging.
Someone gave that to me. It's a sample for letter and they said, oh, well, we
You
might as
stole
well
it
keep
somewhere.
it. Anyway, okay, and then the last real thing, I mean, like I said, we'll leave this set. I don't think we need to go through it page by page tonight, but for the cupola and the tower, some of us were talking before. So we're gonna try to find a fiberglass dome. There's a couple companies that make them. And see if we can price that out for the top so that we could basically not reuse the wood that's there. And that again becomes a relic, but I think that would make it lighter. We're gonna build the tower. We're gonna build a platform that can be hoisted up, and then we're gonna build everything just out of studs, and we're thinking of covering the whole thing with composite. So this doesn't have the finished trim on it yet, but that's coming. So that way the whole thing gets painted out white, but it's all composite lumber, so for the finish, so it's doesn't rot.
What's the on composite, what's the painting maintenance?
So
expectation?
white and white is really good. In fact, we could even build a composite. I don't know if we have to finish it because we could leave it unfinished, but we'll verify all that. So I've always painted it. Don't think there's really any other material that would do it. I know that Steve was saying that Nickerson today was suggesting like hardy panel or a cement board. That takes like every 5 to 10 years to
Right.
be painted. The AZAC is a lot longer.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, we also thought about metal, like cladding it with metal, like a Carnar coated metal, which I think will be more expensive and would be a little bit fussier to get the shapes that we're talking about.
Yeah, we don't want to make it difficult. I just, I don't want to, say, okay, guys, you're gonna have to go up and paint this or 10 to 25 or. 10
Yeah, no, I think it's probably,
9 to 25 or 30-year thing.
yeah, it's probably 15 to
You
20.
know? Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
Probably 15, 20. It's
Yeah.
not 10. But I think what we're gonna do is
That's about this view.
we're gonna reach out to tech support at AZAC, the company that makes some of the trim, just to run all this by them. Since I wanted to verify with all of you that that was the direction, because obviously the true historic restoration would be to build this out of wood and paint it.
But it doesn't make any sense.
But it doesn't make any sense for maintenance. And given the distance and where it is, we will get the restoration of this with the same shape, just be in a more durable material. And that's why the dome, we could reuse the existing dome, but I think if we can find a fiberglass piece that we could use, that would be easier. There's also, this company makes fiberglass molding, so we might actually be able to reproduce the cornice and the top cornice out of fiberglass, so that, I know we can do them in AZAC, but the fiberglass would be more stable still. So just,
So then randomly, if we do that and we've salvaged the dome that's sitting there,
Yeah.
what would we do with that? Just destroy it? What would happen to it?
make a
Yeah,
table out of
exactly.
it.
Find either whether the museum takes it or we find a spot and.
I mean, worst case, we
That's
could
what
put
I-
it on the second floor in the mechanical room
Mhm.
and just cover it, and it's
Yeah.
stored for the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
We could
If the town wanted
make
to.
something out of it.
Mm.
I don't know.
Piece of lighting.
Yeah, I wonder if we
Chandelier.
if we could light it and flip it over. and make
Exactly.
space.
Yeah, because that's what Jeff and I talked about,
Yeah.
that, making it like.
pretty as it is.
It is, it's so pretty, and it's amazing how they built it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
just,
could hang it in the lobby, the big lobby
Yeah.
space, like in the middle,
yeah,
and light it, or it could be in the archive room too.
Yeah.
I mean, just leave it as is
yeah,
and just put some light inside of it.
The architecture.
Yeah.
How they built it.
Right. Which
That's
could be kind of nice.
definitely a preference.
because it's amazing how they.
Oh,
How
yeah.
they did that,
Well, it's
you
like,
know?
it's probably a barrel maker or someone
Yeah.
who did that, because it's
Yeah.
really built like a barrel.
Those Coopers, you know.
Yeah, the Coopers, there's, I
Pretty-
was gonna say the
pretty-
stave, what is it? Stave shaver. Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah,
No, that's.
So-
To be repurposed, it, I think is
Yeah.
exciting.
so that's where we're headed with that, and then we've got the sizes of pieces, so we'll get that.
What do you think, or what are we gonna have for like a waterproof membrane
I think
where
we
the
just,
bell's gonna sit?
I think we should just do a membrane roof there. We could do a membrane roof and then put a deck over it that drains. So that we could actually pitch it to the back
Mhm.
so that it drains off onto the roof.
Mhm.
And then we could put a flat deck on it so someone could stand there if they ever needed to. And it would protect the roof a little bit more. That could be. Or it could
So-
just be a bathtub, basically.
You'd have to have some openings for the water to escape.
I think we do it on the back. We would do like scuppers on the backside. And
Okay.
they would basically pour onto the roof and then down. So we would take this platform and pitch it at, a little bit
It would-
inside.
Yeah,
See, and then on the back, we open up. We probably do it right at the top so that we can flash that all. But to me,
Would
that's,
you have to do some sort of flashing here, or would that ASIC stand up to the test of time?
that should, if we would have to basically, we could flash the whole thing, or we could pitch it over that way. I'm hoping that if we have this custom fiberglass made, we can actually have them make the whole profile. And the whole
Oh,
thing just
wow.
sort of sits.
So then the whole
That's-
thing would just
that
basically
could
sit down
prove
on
to
top
be
there?
Cost prohibitive, and then maybe it's just the dome. It may have a standard dome that's close in size. That was 54 inches. Yeah, so diameter, so 4, 6. It's good size. But I think that if we could get a full fiberglass cap, then the whole thing is kind of inert.
Yeah,
And then we could, but we'll have to see about that. Or otherwise, we could flash it, or it could, but I think we could go with a white membrane if we wanted to just keep it as a membrane roof, but yeah, it's a little bit of thinking.
yeah.
Mhm. Well,
Thinking and budget.
that's what I was thinking is, that, you can have, you get several little
Right.
flat spots there that have to be pitched or flashed
Right.
or something.
If we can have that shape made as one piece cast like in fiberglass, like. Then
Mhm.
it just goes down and we're set.
Then what would you have to cover the fiberglass with?
We just paint it. Just be painted. It's primed and painted, or if we wanted, we could. Put a metal leaf on it or something.
And how do they attach the weather vane? I mean,
It's bolted through.
oh, it's bolted.
Yeah,
through
it comes
the
through and it
fiberglass.
bolts. Yeah, and then it would have like a,
Actually,
an
yeah.
escutcheon on top and
Okay.
then it gets bolted in.
Yeah,
And actually comes down further through, probably have some cross members inside. So it gets held here and here,
yeah,
so it gives it
yeah,
some flexibility.
exactly.
Because the fiberglass won't have a lot of strength in
That's, yeah.
like in a hole, but it will have.
You're
frame.
right.
Right.
That way, yeah.
Carbon fiber. I wonder if the folks at the at UMaine's composites lab.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because they,
3D printers for.
well, years ago, I worked on in Brunswick, I worked on the facility where they lay up fiberglass and they do vacuum forming, and they were doing like boats and things before they were 3D printing. 3D printing would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it'd be very cool.
To do that. We should talk to them,
Donation.
Exactly.
or, joint venture.
Yeah.
Yeah, be a good student.
Do you have any
Thesis
alums?
project.
Well, I graduated from UMaine.
Or no, or,
Or no.
Yeah.
Well, it was at the time. It's a long story about the dental hygiene school. Anyway, but I mean, there's oodles of
yeah, but I'm just
crazy.
between that and then,
Engineer, because it's such a big civil, electrical, mechanical,
we could try talking to them, and maybe they could even give us, because there's a couple companies that will do fiberglass stuff. I kind of want to start with this architectural fiberglass company, Five Pond, because I've used them before to make like cornices.
Yeah.
And like even on buildings that were quasi historic. So we'll talk to them.
well, your neighbor right down the road is a UMaine mechanical engineer alumni,
Which one?
Rusty Neal.
Oh,
Well, I know that the facility I did was at the Mid-Coast campus, so that was Southern Maine Community College.
Yeah.
But I know the dean of the school, and we could at least talk about, is there,
Yeah.
opportunity for a conversation about
Yeah.
this, if this architectural place doesn't come through, because it's just a matter of framing it up and then forming it. They can do stuff this big. I mean, I'm just thinking out of the box here
Yeah.
to try to be, what can we do creative to make this work?
Yeah.
I love the story
Yeah.
of the UMaine engineers basically building us a.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, well,
They did when I was there, it was the boat. They 3D printed the 9 foot long
Yeah.
boat, whatever.
Did they really?
yes.
especially if they make it strong enough, we can put a lifting eye in right there and go
Well, if it's all that, it should be strong enough if it's fiberglass, but
Yeah.
anyway.
lift it up,
So-
drop it in, and then just put the weather vane on top.
So I think we have a strategy for how to rebuild it, just out of conventional framing. We'll frame it on the inside, we'll cover it on the inside, the outside. We're gonna use the most durable products, non-rotting products for cladding it that we can.
Mhm.
If we may end up looking at just covering the existing dome, that structure that we have. But we're looking into some other options. So it's a little bit of a. If we went straight down so that's where we're headed.
Mhm.
As opposed to if we went straight on historic, we would be building this whole thing out of wood
Right.
and cladding with wood. And it could absolutely be done, and probably for 10 years would last, and then you have to maintain it.
Right.
We're trying to come up with an option that's maybe a little less expensive and more durable. But gives us the same visual.
That's what we're
So,
looking for.
yeah,
that's where we're headed.
The visual needs to look good when you're driving by.
Yeah.
Right. And
You
in the
don't have
photos
to
of
get
the
too
front.
close.
Yeah, well, if you look at the cupola now, it was, it probably looked more ornate from the ground than when you get up close to it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was functional,
Is there anything else on the second? You covered everything on that. So we've taken up a lot of your time. I apologize.
No, that's why we're here.
That's our report, and then we're gonna look into leasing. See what that pricing is. And actually, we should talk to Kyla, cost estimator, about leafing. We have to chat with her anyway, so. Or copper leafing or whatever. So it'd be nice to get the dome itself to be.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Somehow.
Just shiny. I don't like gold. but
I like gold.
Be nice. Sounds like it sounds expensive. It's not the price, it's the finding someone to do it, and anything we do up there is the cost. It could also be paint. But it would be nice if it was like, and the weather vane as well. That whole thing would be just a
Right, yeah.
beautiful piece. It's the jewelry on the building, right?
Exactly.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, how was the talk with Mike? I know that he came last week, Mike and Rob. From
Landscape architects.
Oh,
From Mark.
yep. We met with them and they're a great group. I mean,
Yeah, we work with them a lot.
Yeah, and so we spent quite a bit of time talking about the brain, trust that we put together for that day. We talked about using the fairgrounds because that's also property and developing walking trails with places to sit or rest or age-friendly, exercise stations and different things like that to utilize not only the fairgrounds, but have signage saying, well, if you do this loop, or if you go down and use the sports fields or around the middle school, and had all of that, and then neatening this up, and we can't get rid of it, but we can make it bigger so people can actually see it.
Right.
Because it's hidden behind the building. And make it a little bit bigger and, make a pickleball thing or improve it so that it'll be used.
So from them, you need just
I-
concept.
Just kind of a concept thing. So
Yeah.
I reached out to the town manager today I don't know if we have GIS maps of that, but I'm sure we have something that I can, forward to him
Okay,
to
you-
use to just do some concept ideas for
do
that.
you, as far as getting them to do work, do you want them under us? Do you want a separate contract with them? We can get a quote from them either way.
Yeah,
We don't mark up our consultants, so we can pass it through if that's easier.
yeah, I think that's easier.
Okay,
I think that's easier. And then we talked about making, that horrible chain link fence. We still need to have a way to prevent people from driving down there or during when the fair is on, sneaking in on the backside, but making it so people can walk, whether it's a zigzag thing, because if we're going to include this, how do you get down there right now? You can't.
we have a survey of this area, but not of everything.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing. So maybe if you send him what you
Yeah.
have, to begin with, that would be great. And then we'll work on the rest of it. We showed him the sculpture out front and talked about that going back into a spot. And then,
I'm on the pro sculpture team. I know
Yes.
there's the anti-sculpture. team.
exactly. And it wasn't there when I was in school. We had just a wooden sign with two
It
Mustangs.
was
on each
89 or 90.
Yeah.
We saw it signed. the piece.
Yeah, they were impressed with it. They couldn't believe it and what it was, that it's granite or
Yeah.
quartz or something, and but they were a great group.
Giant, like, piece. It's like 6 feet tall, 8 feet wide, like 18 inches deep. It's
Yeah.
just carved. It's really,
Yeah.
Laying right out there.
it's modern.
It's very much. And then when we showed them the
Very happy
patio,
with
the
that.
patio area, they're like, wow, this space is huge. Sometimes people say, we have a patio, but it's like a table and a chair, but you can think of what you could do down here.
So I will speak to them. We'll get a quote for concept work, like a
Mhm.
concept plan.
Yeah,
Then
So he'll probably do two quotes because I think he mentioned to me that for the, you'll have to remind me the acronym or FD something application that they would require slightly more.
government.
Yeah,
yeah,
so he can do
Blanket.
conceptual stuff, like sketch wise and everything, which would be obviously very quick. With the application, he was saying that they would require an amount of developed plans, which would be CAD drawings and stuff, which would obviously.
do you know what they need for that?
Are we talking the playground back here?
Yeah.
Or, yeah,
Or if-
or if we were going for,
Federal grants?
the federal grant that you're looking into, what do they want to see? Do they want to have concept drawings or do they
Oh,
need
you
to
can
have?
use concept drawings.
Okay,
Mark knows they know what is needed for the grant application.
okay,
But it's a little bit more developed than just a sketch concept. So
Okay.
that's why they were gonna do it 2 ways.
okay,
Because they do a lot of federal work. They're working
Yeah.
on Acadia now, doing some work for the federal government there. So that's one of the nice things about them is because they work for the federal government, they
Yes.
know what
yeah.
you need.
And they know Doug Beck, who was
Yeah.
involved in,
Oh, they knew Doug.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so,
Yeah, okay, great. Well, yeah, they're,
Yeah, I was gonna send him stuff today, but I figured we should talk about it first.
Yeah.
And then I'll I'll reach back out to him tomorrow.
Yeah,
I just spoke to Mike before this meeting.
Part of what we talked about was tying all this, the campus over here to make it look like it's, even though it's somewhat separate, all one concept.
Right.
With the swing sets and stuff. I don't know if we can move those or not, but you can't get rid of them.
They can be moved, they can't be thrown out.
Yeah.
We looked at that when we were
Yeah.
doing demo because of the funding that has to always be here.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
In perpetuity.
yeah.
without a whole
Exactly. Massive.
Bury it, they're still
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think, and just the plans to open up the views, to clean out the vines and the undergrowth and clean up the trees, just to make it so you can actually see that that connects to the fairgrounds and you can walk down there and have a lot of space.
Right.
So,
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great.
And the walkability.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And probably
That's what
something
we've been
that's,
striving for.
well, I've been
Easy to get
watching,
funded.
have you seen how many people have walked by tonight?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because they're using this new sidewalks that get
Right.
down into town and so many people come up here to walk because it's quieter and.
It's not, you're walking on Main
And
Street,
it's-
it's a nightmare.
there's a lot of nice buildings to see.
Yeah, yeah, so
Exactly.
that's the thing, I think just having the availability and make it look inviting and,
Okay.
Then we talked a little bit about parking and what our idea was, where we thought the
Right.
parking would start and stop over there and how it would be in front of this building.
Right.
And,
Connect all this.
keeping that front lawn to use for little kids soccer, because it's not, a full-size soccer field, but then talked about trees and this being apple country and what type of trees and different things like that.
Don't you have like 120 cartons in your?
Yeah, I still have a few of those left.
Yeah.
Apple boxes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, for sure, so. Yeah,
One other question that just came to mind. That Steve Burton was concerned about, the sewer line, when we rough the new sewer line into the building.
Mhm.
Should we go to all the work to get it low enough to get gravity drainage out of the basement? Or do we come in,
And do a pump.
no, just come in, we got plenty of pitch to drain
Yeah.
out, but if there's gonna be no plumbing down in the basement. Can we just come through the sidewall of the basement?
Sure, we don't need to, we're gonna run this by Kurt, but since we don't have any plumbing in the basement, we only need to be below the floor. So yeah, so we could pitch everything, because the basement is gonna be just mechanical space.
Correct, so
So-
we could come in 4 feet below the floor, and that gives us a better
Yes.
pitch and easier access.
Does that limit potential for future?
Well, you'd have to pump. And that you could do, I mean, if you're gonna do anything down there with space, it's gonna become a code issue with floor separation and assembly.
Right.
We don't wanna use that.
So we're already.
The basement is a basement. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's, otherwise we're triggering sprinklers,
Mm,
Yeah.
which we don't wanna do.
Yeah.
That's why we got rid of the second floor
Mhm.
and
No, I
the
think
basement's basement.
the level that we have is something.
Just want that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That was one question that he was gonna check with his plumber.
yeah, we'll run it
Just
by
sorry about
our
that, everybody.
mechanical person as well. Yeah,
Now, the masonry. We'll talk about that. They remove right to the soffit.
Yeah.
So talking with. Buzzards there, that's fine, we can. Will be a little bit easier, it wasn't what they were planning,
right.
but they'll be able to do that. So I've been talking to them and the folks about the paint, it's on the side buildings, we were talking over there. And the tan paint is lead based paint, so that will require remediation to be removed. And the test for the to determine whether it was lead or not. It was $200 and we'll take care of that. You know, if they know the town, we'll do that. So the sandblaster or soda blaster, went and took a look at it, and with the remediation that would have to be done, the quote came in at 18,600. And that's without staging. That's with the expectation of being able to use the staging that Jeremy has set up. It's a lot of money.
Equipment.
Yeah. Yeah, because he thinks that actually the removal might be 2 days.
All the other
Yeah, and I don't know,
testing and setting up a negative
Yeah.
error.
Tenting and getting the equipment up here.
getting the equipment up here. And he has it, yeah, $2,200. So he carried 2 weeks just in case for the extraction unit. But it's expensive. So, and it's not something that's vital. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I mean, he is available to do it. However,
could
I don't know if the budget currently is accepting of it. So I'm throwing that out there, what people think.
We can always come back and do it later.
Yes, it can be done like that.
Is that the only quote you have?
The only one that does soot blasting. So I'm kind of concerned, Steve and I have talked about it, you know, it can't be traditional sandblasting. And regardless, whether it's water based, you have to collect the water
Yeah.
Because it's lead.
because it's lead.
Mhm.
So there's, you know, I certainly can do some more work in finding out who else to do this, but
Yeah.
this gives us a foundation.
When you look at this quote, so much of it is equipment, rental and containment. That's gonna be the same from anyone.
Mhm.
And the actual work of the sandblasting is actually 4,500 seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
In
he
terms of
expected
that.
it to a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, everything else, it's like, yeah, I'm looking at, it's like $2,000 to deliver and pick up the equipment, which is 4,500 to rent, and then the plastic containment is another 5. I mean, there's like $12,000 of this is just getting the equipment here and protecting it, unfortunately, and that, I don't think anyone's gonna get you a better price on that, because those are probably all the rates.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, you could, if you could find someone else, that's one thing, but it seems, unfortunately, in my experience, it seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Not that it feels reasonable.
No, but it's understandable with the amount of work that has to go into it to be
Yeah.
the standard now for lead.
Would we go ahead and have him remove the green? That is not lead?
While you have the equipment up here, it might make sense to.
Well, I mean, rather than having. Can he soda blast the green paint off without,
Well, I can always ask him.
well, I'm just wondering if
Right, because
that's.
you've got all the equipment up here and you're all tented, even though it's not lead, can you just get rid of it? Because,
I was thinking doing the green now and leaving the brown till later,
well,
Since the staging is there and whatnot, he wouldn't have to.
but you wouldn't have to tint it or anything like that if you're just soda blasting regular paint.
but you'd have to get this equipment up here.
No, he wouldn't have to do the remediation by just doing the green, because the green is not lead-based paint.
Got it. Okay, but
So then
yes,
next time, whenever that would be, maybe springtime or whatever, that's when we invest in,
got it. He'd just
Maybe
do
in
his
phase
standard
2.
soda blasting for this and then
see
not
how it
touch.
came out. and
I
then-
was just brainstorming if
Well, it would be a good test to run too, and he
to
is
see
available.
what the finished product looks like when it's done.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You
I mean, you
know,
get a quote from him easily, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you just give him a call, yeah.
you know, it would be. We would have to get more staging for him
Well,
later, but
But that's fine. I mean, it's not a big area and
Mhm.
we have plenty of pipe staging.
okay.
That could be accomplished. I mean, you'd have to get some help with planking for planks.
Do you
but-
know anybody that might have planks that people?
Or-
So I can stage it, you get planks. We could get in there, no problem. It's just, and then that would bring us back to the remediation just for
Just
the
for the brown.
brown paint.
And luckily, that's the lower part. The brown part's the lower part.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see where they've salvaged all the brick for the other rebuilding, so that's good.
Yeah, so So, all right, I will talk with him about that and see it, and that way at least we get a look at the process.
Mhm. Well, and the brown's not quite as ugly as the green.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and the
if
brown,
you have to leave the
the-
brown up there for a little while.
Right, the
Yeah.
green
That's
is
a matter of
the, is the,
opinion.
the green is a larger
Yeah, I'm
area.
not a green person, I guess.
So the green is the larger area, so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, no, the green is,
If we could leave that lovely brown band there.
Mhm.
Like a
Answer all
racing
kinds,
string.
answer all kinds of
You
questions.
paint the whole end of the building and then just put fake looking bricks on there.
Right, exactly.
Is there any on the other side?
No, this
Okay.
is that's the only area. I'll talk with him about that, have him give us a price to just the green paint. Good idea. Now, I can't remember, did they take off back over here? Did they just,
they took
Yeah,
that
they
off.
took it all up.
Yeah,
they
they
took
took
that
It's
whole,
done.
that whole
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, that concrete. piece in
When they
there.
were-
Yeah,
But the brick beside it? Or did they just take down the pier?
I thought just the pier. I'd have to look.
I'd have to go back
They
and
just,
But I know they were trying to save the brick above the opening.
no, they
But-
left it, they just took the concrete
Oh,
pier.
that's
The process of getting the concrete and the stuff out there, they thought they were gonna have a
Over on the left there.
catastrophe, yeah. Oh, yes, you got a current picture.
Yeah, yeah, I took a picture
Mhm.
of started.
So,
Yeah, that brick, that concrete stack was there.
right.
Yeah,
And that dangling piece of floor.
well, and that's why they ended up taking it straight up,
Right.
because they were afraid they were gonna lose it and have
Right,
a
yeah,
collapse.
okay.
So they said,
Well, I will talk to Jeff about giving us a price for the green, since that's a greater area, and it would be easier in the spring to. Or when we have phase two monies,
yeah,
and it wouldn't take as long, so it would basically be just the equipment.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
But that small of an area, we wouldn't have to carry much more than a week.
ultimately you'd have to mobilize twice, but you know,
That's
all
fine.
of that kind of stuff, it just.
But the sandblasting mobilization is not the
It's
problem.
minimal.
It's
It's
the
the
pending and-
You
Containment,
know, yeah,
okay. All right, I can talk with them about that.
okay.
Didn't have any other masonry stuff. Okay, that's covered the project status, huh? Good,
I think so. You guys have more?
No, I'll leave you a set.
perfect.
Excellent.
You-
Okay, now, if you want to take a look at,
Oh, yeah.
sorry about that. Okay. No daily invoice. So next no day is billed us for
27.
the month, yeah,
26, 7. There's the amount left, the contract that was paid. I mean, obviously, the windows are coming in soon.
right.
Here almost any day, I think.
Yeah,
I was talking to them.
we've been checking with the company and their lead times have been getting shorter and shorter, so they should be here soon.
Okay.
that would be such an exciting thing, I think, for people to see, you know, those.
Well, it's just gonna be so much bigger and more light too.
Yeah.
Yeah, get these.
Why is they say the $200? I had written on that. And I haven't-
You could, when they start going in to get some photos of that and, it'd be good for your website.
Take care of that.
Um,
At the top, you see what our balance, what we've paid to date is $910,969.78, leaving us $725, $436. Do you guys want to see the budget?
Yeah, no, this seems.
Oh, yeah,
You want me to, you want full signature on it? Yep.
yeah, please. Uses.
This, we gotta pay him, man.
You guys are more expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, they
It's
are.
all signed, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it doesn't include.
Rough idea of what the cost of windows was? Off the top of your head, yes, I was just curious.
High twenties, I thought. 26,000.
It's the big thing, I just,
Number is in my head, but I believe.
I was curious.
Yeah, those are the Marvin, can't remember which line we ended up with.
We're using Marvin or something else.
No, that was for, yeah, no, these are either the fiberglass elevate or the wood clad. I think we ended up with the fiberglass because, painting. And a thinner profile, because it's. Probably have already charged you for half. I didn't check, but
Nickerson a day?
yeah. It's fine. I mean. Sure they billed for part of it. When they put the deposit, can I see the?
The windows say 64, the scheduled value is 60.
That's what I was looking for. $64, there you go, not 24, I was wrong. A little off.
Well, I was hoping it'd be 24, but
I
then
thought that was the deposit. That's what I was thinking, but anyway, they haven't charged you anything, which is funny because I'm sure they paid the deposit, so. But that's obviously a big number.
A lot of big windows and everything.
Bigger it is.
good thing we eliminated the 4 dormer windows. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
no,
Mhm.
exactly. Makes it easier to roof too.
You know, you know, from them. Perfect.
good, we have our marching orders. So I didn't, some of you met Jacob, you guys haven't met Jacob as senior to our office, been with us a month now, and Jacob's role in our firm is project managing all of our projects, so basically helping us herd the cats, as I keep saying, because I know what we are. So so you'll probably be hearing from Jacob as well as Andrew and myself, as we're all available to reach out and ramp it up pretty quick. He's also getting married this weekend.
Oh,
Congratulations.
You got to be out for a little bit, but he's coming back, he promised.
promises.
So
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Honeymoon's gonna go great.
going to Greece, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's cool.
I can't even get excited about it because I got the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice things you get to go with your wife.
Oh, I know. I'm very excited. I'm excited.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Are you left-handed as well, or?
I'm
did they-
right-handed.
Oh, jeez.
No, we're in this, it was one of the dings when we were entering it.
I bet.
But in any case, we're very excited to have Jacob. He's made a big impact on us already and look forward to it. So we thought we'd bring him tonight, introduce him. And obviously, as we talked before about John leaving the project, we've got his final report and we're moving forward with everything but obviously, as we spoke, we know we can, we're
Oh, yeah,
here, we can do
I
it.
think-
And then obviously Jacob is another component of helping us stay on track.
No, I think it was good. We had his input at the beginning.
Yeah.
His passion for.
And Steve was asking me about him. I don't know what happened. And he sent a an email a few days after apologizing, but not with any information. And we know he's left other projects, not ours, so something must be going on in his life.
Something's happening.
But
We just, wish him well, and it's nice that he, gave us the time that he did,
Yeah.
because it certainly was.
but we're all good, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're in good hands.
The part he was the most excited about was the bell tower, and we ended up tearing the whole damn thing off anyway.
Yeah.
We have a full report from him from his last visit. It's like 28 gigabytes. I could barely download it, but we've got all that to go off of. So we did get that extra information.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we think of the PR stuff, but we gave us your website. Do you have social media hashtags that you're using or not? Really?
No, I think there's none of that there.
Okay, well, we'll just link to the website.
Yeah, exactly.
On our stuff, and we'll do
Yeah.
posts, and then we'll do another post, like pictures of the structure of the bell and all that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and whenever you need to get to that bell, when we get to that point,
Yeah.
I know that's a ways down the road,
Yeah,
that's at my.
you started good.
So that's stored with.
You're not ringing it, are you?
I know, it's sitting up on blocks of wood because you couldn't put
Right,
it
right,
flat
of course.
because of the
The clap.
clapper. And then the round piece, the wheel that
Yeah.
is with the bell as
Okay,
well.
good.
So those are safely stored away, so,
Okay, good. All right then.
yeah.
And just,
Yep.
for our next meeting.
Oh, good, yeah.
So that they know what's in fact, I'm thinking the 11th. I think that the select board meetings are the 6th and the 20th.
Yeah, let me fire this up and I didn't bring my phone in, so I can't look at that because.
Thinking the 11th of
The
September.
11th,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
because if the next select board is 23rd, right?
Yeah.
So then that would put us at the 6th and the 20th, so let's shoot for the 11th.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Good for that?
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
all right, guys.
I'll get you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will.
Too, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to the wedding, yeah. Unless
You're not. He's actually lugging the luggage too.
Yeah.
You know, is that it?
Thank you.
Hopkins right there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and Paul, give us an invoice for what, 3,100? I think I just buried that.
And there's nothing scheduled in this room for the 11th, so we're fine for
Okay.
that. so.
Yeah, so Paul's, anybody have questions about Paul's invoice for July for $30,151.12?
Nope.
All right, so when it comes to the other for the sandblasting, I will call Jim and do the green, give us a price for the green. And then hold off on the tan. And as you say, we'll just take care of I have included the 200 on here, but I will go ahead and just write a check for that. Any select board, item number 5, any select board items, updates, answers, recommendations, anything going on with the board?
No, nothing from the select board at all. I don't have anything to pass along from them. Nobody's had a word. We had other weird things going on. Yeah, yeah.
Fundraising?
Like I said before, there was a lot of interest and excitement and happiness that we're saving
this building, because of course, I think a lot of people, when they saw the demo happening, they were confused about what was being demoed and what was going on. And, but letting them know and having them see the progress and from where we are and to where we were going, and they gave me a chance to speak too, so,
okay.
I gave them a little update on where we were going, what it was gonna be, and that eventually in the future, those gatherings can be over there. And, so several people, I had one man, came up and at the end of the day gave me $100 bill, and then, so it was like $270. So somebody bought a throw, and then I had two $50 checks and a $100 bill, so $270. And I anticipate more because several people came and talked to me about windows and what was left available. And, you know, George Greenwood, who I still call our old UPS driver, but anyway, he's a real estate agent in Lewiston, Auburn, but his whole family, the Greenwoods, are all over around here. Randy Greenwood is his nephew.
Oh,
So anyway, I had sent him a letter, and the first thing he did when he got there, when he found me, he said, I lost that letter. I moved my office, into my house I got rid of my office, and he said, I don't know where I put the letter, and I was hoping I'd see you. And so I anticipate something coming in from more people because I gave them ways to connect us, and I had printed out our fundraising letter and had a pile of them there, and a lot of them were taken.
oh,
So-
good, okay.
So I'm hoping we'll see some more from that. And then, we had the meeting with the landscape.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
A lot of
So,
tying this all in.
Exactly.
Potential for that.
Yeah. and,
Vision statement, everybody. And
oh, yes, that's right. Vision and
mission
mission statement.
everybody see that?
I didn't.
Let me, I
By
should be
the
able to
law.
find, yeah,
When was that?
they're in here. Let me just. So.
In my email?
Yeah, it's, he did send them out, it was. So. Mission statement, Monmouth Academy renovation and public community center. Committee. It is the mission of the Monmouth Academy Renovation Committee to restore the historic 1856 Monmouth Academy to its original grandeur and purpose. To provide all citizens and visitors to Monmouth a place where they can gather, research, learn, and have fun. The vision of the committee is to develop the 1856 Academy site that is open to the public, that will provide open space and connect to all of the Monmouth public facilities in Compton Park. It will provide a place for the youth and adults of the community to play, walk, and roam the grounds with a park-like setting. So.
Nice.
So that email was
Yeah,
July
what was it?
25th, so.
I've made some changes, which I like. On the visions, on mission statement, instead of have fun, you should read, learn and enjoy. Vision, he's taken out Monmouth public facilities and put Monmouth educational facilities. In
Yeah.
Compton Park.
Yeah.
That works better.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to have an English teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will go and find why I don't have that.
You don't have,
Because
I'll send it to you then.
that would be great, because I'm. not in
I'll
here.
edit it with
Yeah.
these changes
Yeah.
and send it back.
Okay, because I'd love to
Right.
look at it.
You should be on all the group.
Yeah,
meetings.
It's weird, so I'll forward
I
it
have-
to you too, but
That's definitely not here.
well.
And now I have this and I have a much better concept of what you're trying to do
Yeah,
and how you're going to
exactly.
do it. I can start working on that. I saw Doug Beck.
Oh, did you?
The runs that program for
Yeah.
the state, federal government.
Yeah.
And so we're way ahead of where North Cross Point was in Winthrop. They
Okay.
have to go back at it for their grant for that program. So
Okay,
I think because of what you're trying to do, you know what you're gonna do.
yeah,
What's the program again? I'm sorry.
It's through the LWFC, it's a conservation state program.
Okay.
And it's federal funds.
Mhm.
So it comes to Parks and Recreation Supervisor, which is Doug Beck. And he runs it through his committee. And then from there, if it gets approved, it goes back up to down to Washington
Mhm.
for, usually they just stamp it. He said they're getting a little bit more particular about what they approve, what they don't approve. And the amount of money that I didn't realize that they gave out the large sums that they do.
Really?
So, yeah. Doug, Winthrop originally asked for 320,000 and they would match that. So 640. But then they turned around a month later and decided that wasn't going to do it. They needed more than that. The project grew from 640,000 to 3.2. And they resubmitted their request. And Doug's group said, no. And I kind of frustrated a little bit with them. And then he told me that they haven't really fully thought out what they want to do. It includes a beach area over there, includes a boat launch, but that's a lot of money for that small area.
It's, and it's not easily accessible.
There's no parking.
no parking.
No parking.
And they were hoping to use the VFW.
Yeah,
And that's a no-no because they don't own it.
yeah.
So that caused a bit of a rift.
Interesting.
So when you say matching, how did,
So if we wanted 500, if
Yeah.
we wanted $1 million.
yeah,
We'd say, we'll put up 500,000 and they would match that.
okay. So since we've already appropriated 1.7, obviously we aren't gonna ask for.
No, you're not gonna.
No, but if we,
If you're looking for 500,000,
yes,
which is what I see in the budget, it would be a 250 and 250,
yeah,
which is a little bit easier to swallow to raise.
yeah.
So we'll aim for that.
Yeah.
Is that a good target, 500,000 or
I would,
should we go more?
I would think so. So,
I'm gonna need some final budget numbers that you thought, what Paul gave us, but
Well, and yeah, and the phase 2 still is kind of up in the air.
yeah. Well,
You know, getting our
Doug's
certificate-
grant application isn't due until I think, October or December.
so when you say, is that our budget? Or what we've raised in donations?
No,
It's
you would
What
have
the
to say,
town's
you've
appropriate,
already spent what you've
yes,
been appropriated.
yes,
So you'd have to use what you have, the
Okay.
remainder or anything else we can find.
okay,
That's what I'll try and do, find more pots of money.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been getting small amounts, 5
Yes.
here, 10 here.
yeah,
I think it's,
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think I didn't get a current one, I didn't bring it with me, but I think we were right around 60, 61 is
Right.
what I've raised,
Yeah.
so far, so.
if we could try to find a couple 100,000.
And, oh, that was the other thing. I came up here with Lena Hahn and John Simcoe from Androscoggin Bank and gave them an exterior tour and talked about what our plans are. And there's 2 different kind of pots of money with Androscoggin Bank. There's a donation, which they usually do 5 or 10,000, something like that. So I reached out to Paul and he gave me projects that were 5,000 and projects
Yeah,
that
I
were
saw that,
10,000.
right. No.
So I passed those on to John and I've got to follow up with him because it's been like a week and a half and I just wanted to circle back on those emails because I hadn't heard back from him, and gave him the projects that were available. And then there's another pot of money for these community projects that they do, which it's a lot with youth and outdoor recreation. So whatever, once we're working on this, we can pass that over, and the woman that works on that project at
Yeah.
Androscoggin, so.
I know John real well. He used to be a town manager. in
Yes.
Greenville
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Twice.
Yeah, and then there was another woman you knew from, right, that works on that community grant or something from Androscoggin Bank, right?
Think who it is. I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
but I'll,
So
Yeah.
once we have, if we're doing this with, this project for the federal government, we can take that information from that and say, this is what our plans are, and pass it on to the community people with the Androscoggin Bank and see about them funding it, because it's all about, engaging youth and giving youth opportunities to have recreation outdoors, so. And, part of me, I'm like, oh God, we're gonna spend money on this land, but like I said, we've got to spend money to get money.
Exactly, and,
So-
and the facility is, that's what we're looking for, is to have it not only, that we can vote.
Yeah,
And do meetings
Yeah.
and whatnot, but have it a place, like I would come over here. I would like to take my dogs for a walk, but there's really no place where I live on
Yeah.
202.
202.
I would come over here and walk, and I'm sure, like you say, there's a lot of people who've been walking up and down here. This is a good place for that.
Yeah,
So if we can combine that, I don't think the town,
you can create a list of definitive things, like you're gonna have a senior every
yes.
meal. Or it's a senior day where people come in, they can get
Yes.
cribbage, or they can
Yeah.
get cards,
Yeah.
have a meal, things like that.
Yeah.
Seniors Plus used to do that in Lisbon,
Mhm.
in their recreation center every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are things that will catch funding because you're
Right.
serving a certain population.
No, bug Mary Beth Paquette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The age-friendly thing.
My neighbor.
They're working
Yeah,
on
there you go.
that. So,
exactly, and that's what this, we took that building down.
Yeah.
It gave the opportunity for,
such a huge
Yeah.
space, yeah.
A lot of people.
So, and that's the other project that we're working on too, is this age-friendly community. And so,
And they have money.
and that's AARP stuff. But that website, I tried to find where you go on to AARP for
Yeah,
grants, and it is the most, I couldn't find it. There was no simple thing to get anywhere.
Way too
It was awful. I just finally went, I surrender. I can't
Like
find
what?
anything. But so that's the thing, and we'll come up with I think work on a list of what we know we can provide in there for the community, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
all right, anything else? For fundraising?
I saw him today, but I didn't talk to him. He drove by me in a trailer on, he was both. So,
I was kind of curious, when we did the survey, he didn't have anything in the city survey, he didn't have information for last meeting, whatever came of that? I mean, is the stuff usable for the sewer?
I
Yes
haven't
and no.
talked to him.
Yes and no.
Yes and no, okay.
We found a line that used to go up there part way that we think we're gonna be able to attach onto.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And that's why I asked the question about whether we could just come out through the wall or if we had to come under the floor and come down deeper, because that would make it a lot more difficult. One problem that we have is we tried to camera a line coming up this direction. And we got up there 65 feet and we ran into a big plug of dirt and sand in the pipe. There's supposed to be a manhole another 20 feet away, but Paul couldn't find the exact location of it. So we're thinking that manhole is where the sewer from here goes,
oh,
but somehow the sewer from here is still working. So we're not sure how it's working if we got that
it's
plug in
got
the
the
pipe.
plug in there.
Yeah,
And so I talked to him and he was gonna try to get a a better GPS location on where the manhole apparently used to be. We think it was under the pavement that was out there.
Oh.
And we're not sure if, when they demoed the building, they crashed the top of it, or it's still there buried under the dirt and we haven't been able to find it.
Right, could be however many feet under the dirt, right?
That's what we're trying to figure out, and he was gonna try to get go back through his records to get a better GPS location of it.
Okay,
And I told him if he found that, I'd bring my excavator up, we could dig down and try to find it.
Yeah.
And then we also gotta try to find the water line that the almighty waste guys broke off. Then hopefully that we can reuse that to feed the water into the building. And Jimmy Hopkins was asking me about that also, and here again, it's one of those things that we don't know for sure what's even down there until we dig it up and find it.
right.
So that's part of why I was asking that. I haven't seen Paul around, so I guess I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
reach out and,
I saw him today, but not to speak to.
Yeah.
He drove right by me when I was walking. I was in front of his house, so,
I'll reach out. I've got his phone number.
yeah.
I'll reach out and see if I can get a hold of him. We just need to coordinate a time when he and I can get up here together. I'll bring the excavator up and do some digging. Hopefully we can find
That'd be nice if we could,
what's going on with that manhole that's missing.
MIA.
Hopefully they didn't just bust it
Yep.
and dump it in, because then that meant all that dirt went down the pipe.
Yeah,
And if that's the case, we may have to dig up a bunch of pipe and flush it and or replace it or something.
what's the recourse on that if they did crush it?
Unfortunately, not much at this point.
He'd love to hear from us again, but I think they sold. We drove by there today where Almighty Waste is on
Yeah.
Washington Street
Yeah.
and different name.
Really?
Yeah.
I just should not have them back. Anyway.
Yeah, crack them down.
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah. I said it out loud. That man made me insane.
He was
so.
intense.
Yeah,
Oh,
Almighty Waste.
yeah. Scott,
Yeah, I can't remember his last name, but
Allery, no, Allard.
Scott something.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah.
yeah, he was intense. There's no two ways about it.
Mhm.
Phone calls are miserable.
Oh, he was a miserable person, but you know, he knew far more than any of us put together, sitting
Yeah.
at this table, knew about anything. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what he kept telling me. Oh, this is the good stuff. I don't know why we're tearing it down. I'm like, what?
It leaked like a sieve.
He did the demo for you?
Yeah. Yeah. And he said
It was,
that, this thing, we're saving.
not
is
surgical.
Terrible. And I'm like,
Yeah.
It's not
Well, it didn't look
surgical.
like it was a surgery.
well, and that's why we said you're staying 6 feet away from what we're saving, because we don't trust you to go any closer. So,
Wow.
It's difficult.
yeah.
That's a
All right,
tough- tough
I'll reach out to Paul and
Yeah.
find out what's going on.
Well, and I had mentioned it to Justin because in Paul's email, he said, we're concerned that if they did crush it, where's this sewer going out of this building? Granted, I don't think a lot.
Well, that's what we thought. The sewer we thought came out of the front of the building, went down and joined onto that other one and went down the hill.
Yeah.
Joined in at that manhole, but we can't find the manhole. This sewer is still working. So
It's gotta be somewhere.
it's gotta be going someplace. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to dig it up and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Oh, Lord.
once it plugs up and backs up, then it's gonna be that much
Yeah,
worse.
exactly.
Is there any, just thinking in the pavement, is there any thought process of how you're gonna have traffic flow in and out of here? You're gonna enlarge the drive-through or
Well, that's the little socket area that you were
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
right? Is
the grassy
Yeah.
area?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there
grassy
was-
area, but
Plans for a few parking spaces over that direction, but
We talked about ones back here. a bit.
along
yeah,
this road. back
yeah,
here.
exactly.
I think
But it-
that's-
Whether they have done that, and whether they kind of thought about that with their initial plans. I don't know if we ever discussed that. I think we might have early on about where.
Well,
The
even
con-
widening this road, so there's parking on either
Yes.
side.
Yeah,
Like on a
And you still have a
diagonal.
travel
or-
way,
Yeah,
yeah, you still have a travel way through.
yeah.
You still would have a lot of that.
And this always was enter here and go out there.
Right.
It always was this way, so.
One lane.
Yes,
one lane
it was
direction,
one way. When the
that way.
school operated, they made you were supposed to come in here and go out over there,
Right.
So,
so,
but that parking is one of those things that we should put on the,
yeah.
yeah.
because if, you know, if that can hold, what are they saying? 120?
Yeah, so I think that's what
We
we
need to have
discussed that a little bit with the landscape guys, is that, you know, half of that, they usually go with. Usually your people are in twos,
Right,
so
at
it's
least.
not like-
Have an ordinance of what you need for parking for buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually they do. If you have 150 people, you'll have to have so many parking spaces available.
Mom has anything
I
like
don't
that?
think so. Since there's no
The bigger cities.
Since there's no
we don't
zoning.
have that Augusta.
Don't worry about that, yeah.
Just because they had a formula for
We lack
square footage.
for some events, we lack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Something weird, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it. When when I was teaching and they do activities out here,
Yes.
and we were doing activities out there, and there'd be weird noises under the ground. And somebody would say, that's just the sewer. But it was way over there. And
I can't imagine.
I know they dug water line across there.
Yeah, they put a new water line to feed this building because it used to feed out of the building
Yeah.
demo. That's the water line we want to find
Right.
to see if we can repurpose that to feed into the building rather than starting at the street.
Yeah.
But I don't know what was going on out there. To make those weird noises and.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be a question for Mr. Roop.
Yeah, there would.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the time and date of the next meeting will be September 11th, 2023, again, 6 o'clock here. We have no public, so motion to.
Well, we've got to go backtrack to
Oh,
the
we
minutes.
haven't done the
Because you
minutes.
were on the phone, so we
Right,
waited to do the
okay,
minutes.
we need to have a motion to accept the minutes from,
Yeah.
as written from July 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Acceptance.
All in favor? All of us.
And we didn't vote on
no,
the
no, I'm just here.
invoices.
Oh,
I-
yes, and
We talked about this.
yes, we got, but we had Paul review the Nixon O'Day invoice
Mhm.
and we've okayed Paul's invoice be paid, so motion to issue these to the select board to be put on the warrant to be paid.
I would make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Here we go.
There, now we're official.
Now we're
We're
good.
official.
Sorry about
Good.
that. I blew right by those.
Almost
Right
forgot
along.
something important.
So now we can make a motion
Motion
to
to adjourn. And I.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.